Hi everyone, I'm Valerie and welcome back to What Valerie Makes. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing the this or that sewing edition video hashtag vlog. So it's going to be super comfy, casual. I just got home from work, so I threw on some comfy clothes. I sprayed my hair with a bunch of dry shampoo to look a little presentable. I poured myself a little bev. And yeah, I just came up here and thought it would be like a fun, just like casual video today. So I would like to start by saying thank you to my YouTube friend Tanja for tagging me in this video or in this hashtag. And I don't know if you can see her yet, but Luna. Hi, Luna, do you want to sit on my lap or? All right. I thought this was going to be quick. And I was tagged by my YouTube friend Tanja for, and her YouTube channel is called It's So Tangy, and I've mentioned her before. I've tagged her in sewing challenges before, and we've become pretty great YouTube buddies. So thank you, Tanja, for tagging me in this. And the whole this or that like sewing edition was created by the Love to Sew podcast, and that's with Helen and Caroline. And then Julie from the Curated Curvy brought it to YouTube. And it's really for anyone to do. I've some of my favorite YouTubers have done it, and it's fun to watch and kind of see what they prefer. And really it's not like one is good and one is bad. It's just like, it's fun to see what other people do and what other people's preferences are and maybe why. Wow, I'm getting so distracted. Do you want to sit on my lap? Okay. Okay. But anyway, I will make sure to tag or put a link to Julie's and Tanja's this or that video so you can go and check them out. Okay, so let's just get started with these questions. So they're into different topics. So they are categorized into different topics, and we've got sewing prep. We've got fabric, we've got clothing construction, and we've got sewing habits. Those are the 4 topics. And so, yeah, let's just dive right into them.
Come on, Veggie! Come on, Veggie! Let's hear it now! Attaboy!
All right, so under topic number 1, sewing prep. So the first one, shopping new versus stash busting. I 100% would say shopping new. Because who doesn't love shopping for fabric? But I will say if it's something like spontaneous, obviously I'll shop my stash because I've got a bunch of fabric to choose from. So I'm not I'm not going to never shop my stash because then none of my fabric would be used. But if I have to choose, like always shopping new, because obviously you're going to like run out of your stash fabric eventually. You're going to want some new fabrics. So definitely shopping new, hands down.
That's the last hands down.
Easy, check. Next. PDFs versus paper patterns. Now, if I had to just choose one, I would say paper patterns because they're pretty. And I like to have like a little collection of pretty patterns. But do I enjoy a PDF? Yes, I do. Do I enjoy just being able to like get it printed or printing it myself, cutting into the paper and getting right to it? Yes, I do. Because with my paper patterns, I tend to I trace those ones out because you can't really, if you need adjustments or if you go up and down sizes like I do, like you're going to need your pattern. So I do trace all of my paper patterns. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to each, but if I have to choose, I'm going with paper patterns. They're pretty. They're definitely what I would choose. All right. Next one. My cat is right. Luna, can you get down or lay down? Yep. Okay. Perfect. Great. Okay. All right. Next one. Cutting versus tracing. And I kind of talked a little bit about that. There's something about tracing that I like because I feel like it's not like a permanent decision. If you trace it, it's like, well, I still have the main pattern to go back to. So it feels a little bit more, I feel a little bit more steady when it comes to like doing that. But like if I had to choose, I would say just cutting right into it. I just like to be fast. So that might be contradictory to my last one because I chose paper patterns and I will always trace my paper patterns. But in an ideal situation, like I would be able to cut into my paper patterns, but then it just magically I get new ones if I need them. Okay, and the last one in this sewing prep topic is muslin or just go for it. I'm a just go for it. I have seriously made like maybe one muslin in my entire sewing, like probably two, let's be honest. And then if it doesn't come out, I just go, okay, this one didn't work out this time, and then I'll make notes of what to do better. But I'm a just go for it type of sewer, so that is what I am. All right, and now we're on to topic 2, which is fabric. And the first one is in-store versus online shopping. And I really love in-store shopping, but the sad part for me is that I don't have like a really nice, I don't have a really nice, I don't want to say that, really nice. I don't have like a local fabric store that carries like, that carries garment fabrics. Like I have some really nice quilting, like quilting shops around me that are like great if you need to grab like some haberdashery items or whatever. But yeah, when it comes to like garment fabrics, I have to go to Joann, and I don't always love to go to Joann. You know what I mean?
Standing by the river and I'm calling Joanne.
So unfortunately not unfortunately, because I also love online shopping. It's a lot of fun. Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
You could come in. Yeah. Okay. But what I was saying, I do love online shopping because you can really get some like really nice fabrics that I can't get or like locally to me. So I do a lot of online shopping, but if I could, I would go to all of those shops in person. So the next one is knits versus wovens. And I would have to say wovens just because I tend to sew more woven things, but I will say there's nothing more comfortable than a knit garment. So if this is like you have to choose one, I would say wovens because there's just so many patterns and like so many like really fun fabric pieces that are wovens. So I would say that, but I really love a knit garment as well. But I choose wovens. Okay, tumble dry versus hang to dry. I've always been a hang to dry, always will be. Even before I started sewing my own clothes, I always had like not every single piece, but like I hang up a lot of my clothes. I mean, drying your clothes is really hard on them, and they like tend to last longer if you don't put them in the dryer. So I've always been like someone who hangs their clothes to dry. So hang to dry for sure. Next question. Rotary cutters versus scissors. And I don't think I've gotten the hang of using the rotary cutter. I think there's something up with mine. I should like email the company. I just like never get a, like when I use it, there's always parts where it does not cut through, and I just like can't handle it. And then I have to get my scissors or go back through with the rotary cutter. So I'm definitely a scissors person. So I could be converted if I can figure out the rotary cutter, because I do like that. I do like the idea of just zip, 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 done. But as of right now, scissors. All right, on to topic number 3, and this is clothing construction. The first one is follow the pattern or wing it. I am follow the pattern. Wing it seriously just made me like. Usually I'm making the pattern because I like the pattern. I like what the garment looks like, and that's what I want. So if I'm just going to wing it, it's going to be like I'm winging it from like, I'm taking an article of like ready to wear clothing and trying to recreate it. And that's my wing it. But like, I'm follow the pattern. And I like to know, like sewing with different pattern companies, I like to see what they, like their method of construction. Like a lot of these pattern companies have really great tips, and like I'm always like learning. So even though I might have sewn a dress that might like seem like I've made like a bunch of dresses, but I like to learn new skills. And so I like to see what other pattern companies or what pattern companies, how they put the dress together. And I like to learn new things. So I will always say follow the pattern. I seriously started like to think of just winging it, to looking at a pattern and like cut out the pieces and then just being like, I know how to do this, and like go for it, which like I feel like I could do. Like I feel like I could put it together, but like no, that's not me. I'm following the pattern. Okay, and then next one is bias tape finished versus facings. I think there's a time and a place for both. And it depends on what I'm finishing. I love a biased bound hem, and I think that is such a great finish on a shirt, a dress. Like, I'm for the bias tape finish for a hem, but for a neck, I tend to go towards facings because I feel like I can get a much better fit. Like it, for me, it like lays flat more with a facing. And normally I can either like tack it down on the sides, or a lot of facings you can like top stitch it down depending on like what the pattern is and like your fabric. Also, if I had to choose, I would choose fully lining my bodice over like bias bound neck or facing. So I guess I would say facing, but if I could add a third option for like finishing the bodice, I would just say fully lined, because it is so much neater, and like you get a better finish, and it's more like, but I guess that's not the question. Am I breaking the rules? Maybe. Am I throwing in a third one? Maybe. But okay, bias tape finish then. I'll just say bias tape finish. That's what I'm going to say. All right, so we got serged seams versus French seams. French seams are beautiful, and I would definitely French seam things over serge them. But if I could only use one for the rest of my sewing practice, I probably would say Oh, I might go with French seams, and I'll tell you why. Because right now, my serger is not the best. Maybe if I had a better serger, I would say that. But I've been doing a lot of French seams in my garments just because my serger isn't that great. It's old. I got it for free. I've gotten it like worked on and all of that, but it just doesn't, it's not doing it. It's not doing it for me. So I think I'm going to say French seams. I'm going to say French seams. All right, the next one is button fly versus zip fly. Zip fly. Next. Button by hand versus machine sewn. I've seen a lot of these videos and I've heard people say they love sewing buttons by hand. They think it's so enjoyable. I hate it. I don't want to sew a button on a shirt. I just don't. I just want it to be over with. So that's why I'm going to say machine sewn. It's so easy. I take some double-sided tape, like sewing tape, put it on where my button goes, put it under my machine, line it up, and go. Done. I can put on buttons on my whole shirt, all of them. By the time it would take me to sew on like 3, I would do all of them. So I get that like hand sewing can be like fun for some people, but hand sewing buttons, it's not for me. It's just not. So I will say machine sewn. So quick, so easy. If your machine can do it, that is. We've got fusible versus sew-in interfacing. Now, I like fusible because it's like pretty, like you just put it, like fuse it right. It says it all. You fuse it onto your fabric. So I would say fusible, but I have used sew-in interfacing and it does a great job. So sometimes when I'm out of fusible, I've come across some sew-in at like the thrift store. So I've got a bunch of sew-in interfacing and it really does a great job. I use it a lot for bag making and I use it for like if I need something like a really stiff interfacing, I'll use that. But I guess I'll say fusible because I have to choose one. So I'll say fusible. And then we've got snip as you go or all at once. My cat is crazy. Guys, I have a bag for like scrap fabric underneath my table. That's kind of just like where I put it when I'm sewing. And my cat just got into the bag and is laying inside this bag with my scrap fabric. Now, I wish I could show you, but as soon as I get up, she's gonna jump out of it. But it's really cute. Okay. Snip as you go or all at once. And if you've seen some of my videos before, you'll know that I'm oftentimes go, oh, a string. And I pick strings off and like threads off of my snip threads on as I'm showing you guys what I've made. So as much as I would like to say snip as you go, and that's kind of the person I want to be, it's like all at once because I'll like do it if I remember or like if it's all like in my way, snip it. But normally at the end, I'm always doing a once over like, okay, are all my threads snipped? And then I go through and of course they're not all snipped. And then I finish them off at the end. So I am all at once, but I strive to be a snip as you go. Working on it. All right, and then the last one in topic 3 is press as you go or all at once. Press as you go. I have not seen one person say all at once yet. And if you're an all at once, well, no, as you go. I know there's like some pattern companies that will like suggest you or like give you tips on like how to do things a little bit faster, and they'll like do a lot of the pressing at the beginning. So if that's what you mean, as in like all at once, I've never done it, but like press as you go is just so nice. It's just like your garment looks so nice if you're pressing at every like, if you're pressing all your seams, it just comes out so much better, and you have a better time at the sewing machine, in my opinion. Okay, so we're on to topic number 4, and it is sewing habits. And we've got late night seamstress versus daytime seamstress. And I am definitely daytime. I will sew at night, and but when I sew at night, it's not as fun for me. Like, it's fun because I'm sewing, but like, usually I sew in the daytime on my days off, and I really just like dive in. So I feel like that's why I like it so much, because I feel like I have like a day dedicated to sewing. And then usually when I'm sewing at night, it's usually after work or like after I've done something, and then like my brain really isn't all into it. So I definitely say daytime, because it's usually on my days off, and I'm like have dedicated days of like sewing. So I am a daytime sewist. And then we've got slow and steady versus frantic sewing. I want to say I'm a little bit of both, but I think I seem to be pretty quick, but like not in a frantic way. So I wouldn't say that I'm not a frantic, like I don't frantic sew, but I do feel like I'm pretty quick. But slow and steady. How about fast and steady? I'm not that fast, but I'm not slow, but I'm not frantic. So I don't know. What am I? You tell me on this one. If you're not slow and steady, but you're also not frantic, what are you? Let me know in the comments, because that's me. Okay, and the last one is tidy as you go versus one big cleaning session, and this is easy. One big cleaning session. If you could just pan out and see what I'm looking at, it's not as bad as it normally is, but usually it's like everything, like all my stuff is on my table that I've used for the project, like my cutting station or my ironing station is like has stuff on it for me ironing, and my pattern is usually on my table over here. So by the end of a project, I've got a lot. Like I do a lot of the cleaning before I start a new project to like, okay, that one's done, clean up, let's start a new one. So I'm definitely a one big clean type of gal. And the tidy as you go just isn't my style. It's just not. I've tried, and it like kind of feels good. It's just not natural to me to do that. So, yep, I'm a one big clean. So that's me. But yeah, those are all of the questions, and this was like fun. This was fun, super casual. I got my little bev, got my animals, got my cozy clothes on. I hope that you are enjoying your day wherever you are. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could give me a like, that would be great. And also, if you're back and you haven't subscribed yet, please do it. You know you want to. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.